Why did I serve my family microwave dinners during Thanksgiving? I've spent the last 15 years as my family's unpaid personal chef. Every Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, I'm in the kitchen at 5 a.m. while everyone else sleeps, and by the time they waddle to the table, I've been on my feet for 12 hours. Not once has anyone helped. Not once has anyone said thank you. What do they say? Turkey's dry, stuffing needs more sage, gravy's too thick. My mother has never touched sage in her life. Last year, my uncle told me, while reaching for his third plate, that maybe I should watch a YouTube tutorial on cooking or something. But the moment that finally broke me happened 3 weeks ago. My aunt called to announce she's bringing her new boyfriend to Thanksgiving dinner, but apparently he has 12 deadly food allergies. Gluten, dairy, soy, nuts, the works. You'll figure it out, my aunt said. You always do. I hung up and started crying over a grocery list. That's when my husband walked in. What if you just didn't cook? I laughed, then I stopped laughing. At last year's Christmas, my husband and I had stepped outside for what everyone assumed was another fight. My aunt watched through the window, shaking her head. What she didn't hear was my husband saying, I can't do another holiday with these people. Our therapist had been telling us for months that sometimes people need to experience the absence of what they take for granted. So I made a decision. I wasn't going to cook this year. I didn't tell anyone. A week before Thanksgiving, my mother called asking what time she should arrive. Same as always, I said, keeping my voice steady. She paused. You sound different. Is everything okay between you and your husband? There it was again. The assumption my marriage was falling apart. We're fine, Mom. That night I almost backed out. I stood in my kitchen staring at my grandmother's roasting pan, thinking about 15 years of tradition. My daughter found me frozen there. You okay, Mom? I nearly broke. Nearly grabbed my keys and drove to the grocery store for a real turkey. But then I remembered my uncle's YouTube comment. I remembered my aunt's, you'll figure it out. So instead, I stood in front of my bathroom mirror practicing. This is dinner. I said it 15 times until it sounded casual. My husband watched from the doorway. You ready for this? I wanted to bash my head through the mirror. No, but I'm doing it anyway. Thanksgiving morning, I drove to Costco at 7 a.m. I stood in the frozen aisle for 10 minutes, hand hovering over a real turkey breast. Then my husband texted, you can still back out. I'll support whatever you decide. I grabbed 12 Hungry Man frozen dinners instead, drove home, and started setting the table. My hands were shaking. The doorbell rang. They were there an hour early. I froze with a plastic tray in each hand. My mother's voice came through the door. We brought pie. Let us in. It's cold. I shoved the trays in the microwave, hit start, and opened the door with the biggest fake smile of my life. My mother walked straight toward the kitchen and sniffed. It smells different this year. My heart nearly stopped. New recipe, I managed. Trying something different. She raised an eyebrow but got distracted by saying hi to my daughter. I finished microwaving everything and arranged 12 frozen dinners on my grandmother's fine china. My heart was beating so hard it almost fell out of my chest. I called everyone to the table. The silence was deafening. My family stared at the Hungry Man turkey slices, the dry mashed potatoes, the tiny square of brownie where pie should be. My mother's face cycled through confusion, horror, and landed on betrayal. Is this a joke? No, I said, sitting down. This is dinner. You're welcome to help if you want something better. The room exploded. My aunt grabbed her boyfriend's arm and stormed toward the door. He looked relieved. Probably the first meal in months he didn't have to worry about. I can't eat any of this, my aunt shouted. You've completely disrespected my boyfriend's dietary needs. My uncle threw his napkin on the table. This is selfish and dramatic. My mother started crying, saying I'd ruined Thanksgiving and was clearly having some kind of breakdown. That's probably because of the marriage problems everyone's been noticing. My aunt paused at the door, voice dripping with fake concern. Honey, I know a divorce lawyer. He's very discreet. That's when my daughter stood up. She'd watched me cook every holiday meal since she could hold a spoon. She's cooked for you people for 15 years, my daughter said, her voice shaking but loud. 15 years. Not one of you has ever helped. Not one of you has ever said thank you. Mom asked all of us to help this year. Every single one of us said no. We all said no. My husband stood up next to me and grabbed my hand. And for the record, we're not getting divorced. We've been in couples therapy for a year trying to figure out how to handle all of you. Those fights you kept watching through windows, they were about whether to keep showing up for this family at all. My mother's face crumpled as she looked at me. I didn't realize. I didn't know how much. You didn't ask, I said quietly. You never once asked. Christmas came around 6 weeks later. For the first time in 15 years, I showed up to someone else's house carrying nothing but a bottle of wine. My mother had insisted on hosting. The kitchen was a disaster when we walked in. Flour on the ceiling, smoke alarm chirping, my mother frantically Googling how to tell if turkey is done while still wearing oven mitts. The meal was a catastrophe, but I didn't have to cook it.